Agent Tech Mastery helps you fix your messed up systems and build a profitable, streamlined business, saving you 10 hours or more a week and getting you back tens, if not $100,000 in lost commission. Book your free call at darcitalks.tips/apply. Here we go. Good morning. We're going to start the webinar, but I love it when you ask questions, when you interact. Even if it's a pretty small webinar, I don't even mind if you unmute yourself and ask a question, but feel free to also ask the questions in the chat. Good morning, Catherine, John, Hassan. Hassan, am I saying your name right? I hope I am. Good morning to everybody. So I'm so thrilled that you are here today. And, I love doing these webinars. I love helping agents. I love being able to have you understand the business system setup better and how that impacts your whole business when you're running your business with a free email account. And we'll really dive into that today, and you'll hopefully understand why that is an issue. You probably have a lot of aha moments while we chat today. So I just want to say hello while I'm here. I'm going to turn off my video and so you can focus on the actual webinar. And again, chat. Oh, good. I'm saying your name right. Awesome. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to turn off my chat, stop video. Okay, so we are going to whip through this. So first off, not everybody knows who I am. So I just want to let you know who I am. My name is Darci LaRocque, and you might know me from other webinars, but I teach and train across North America about how to get your systems set up properly and run your business like an actual business. And I have a IT background that is really boring because it's who likes IT stuff except me. I love it. I've spent, oh my goodness, decades in information technology. And my specialty is actually how email works and how it runs and integrates with other software. So talking about apps and servers and other software like CRM. So I have a lot of knowledge that it's actually been a really unique career for me. And in the last 8 years, maybe, I have really just specifically been working with agents because, let me show you why. That guy, oh, I was too fast. That guy there is my husband, and he's with Remax. He's an agent. Now I help agents, non-Remax agents as well, but he happens to be a Remax agent, so I do a lot of help with Remax agents. But basically, way back when, his systems were messed up. And on the side, I kind of fixed all his systems and made it integrate so he could get access to that document on his phone, that when he updated his CRM contact, it updated his phone contact, and anywhere else he accessed it. I also looked at how he actually was using his email. He started off with a Yahoo account. Did you guys hear me? He was running his business with a Yahoo account until I said, what are you doing? So anyhow, we fixed it all. And then I found that it wasn't just really a Terry problem. It was an industry problem. It's actually a small business problem, but I'd say 99% of the people I help now are agents and brokers. So that is how I came to help agents. And I absolutely love what I do. And hopefully you'll get a lot of valuable information today. So basically what I found in looking at agents is that a lot of times they have their systems built kind of bottom up, or don't understand the implications of having that big old mess. And what I do is say, let's look at your business, and we build it from the top down, or we set it up from the top down. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. So what we're going to talk about is shifts you need to make in your business in order for everything to integrate properly. Okay, so I'm going to talk about domains. I'm going to talk about email. I'm going to talk about cloud storage, and then I'm going to talk about CRM. So these 4 things are so important when you're running your business. And honest to goodness, you can't start, you can't have a CRM if your other stuff isn't set up properly, because then you're managing multiple databases, and it doesn't have to be that way. It's just that you probably don't know how to fix it. Does that make sense, you guys? Again, feel free to say yes, or say something in the chat. I love it, love it, love it when you guys ask questions and comment while we're going through the webinars, okay? Makes me feel like I'm not just talking to nobody. All right, so first off, let's talk about domains. This is where I see a problem sometimes with some agents. So There's lots of different domains out there, but basically how it works is you buy a domain. Thanks, John. You buy a domain, right? So for example, I'll use my domain as an example. Actually, I have two domains. I have agenttechmastery.com and I have darcitalks.com. So I went to whoever, GoDaddy, Bluehost, whoever, to buy the domain. It doesn't mean I do anything with the domain yet. I have just purchased it. And it's not mine really, you're leasing a domain, but let's just say for the purpose of this that you own a domain, right? So I own that domain, but now I can put it somewhere. So for you guys, you might put it with BC website hosters or like Ubertor, or actually some are Canadian, Income for our American friends, Ubertor, My Real Page, Realty Ninja. Does that make sense? Like, so then you pay somebody to host it. That right? You got it? Okay, so because I see what happens a lot of times is people buy the domain, but they don't have a website. But a lot of times the website's good too, but then all the stuff falls apart after you've got the website. So I'm going to talk about that as well. So is there anybody here who's kind of a brand new agent and doesn't have a website? Because this is going to be some great tips, because I'm not saying when I'm talking about domains and websites that you need to switch it. I just think if we had the knowledge we have today, we would have done it a lot differently. So let me talk about that for a minute. Oh, I forgot too that there's this .homes extension. If you're looking for something that maybe is available, because you know how .ca, .com, even .net, if you're looking for a website, a lot of times those are taken because they've been around for so long. So in my website, darcitalks.com, under Approved Agent Apps, there's a section there and a link to go if you want to purchase a blah, blah, blah .homes extension. I'll talk about that in a second. I think it's a really cool thing. It's only been around for, I think it's been like 15 months or so. I think it was January of 2018. I can't remember now, but something like that. It's not very old. So just keep that in mind if you're thinking of rebranding or you want to see if something's available that you've always wanted. Now you can get the .homes extension. So when we look at domains, I always get this question, should you use your own name as the domain? My general answer is no. Okay, because, well, I'll show you in a second. So here's the thing, especially if you've got a really complicated name to spell, like, is it with a IE, a Y? I have no idea. This is just a made up name, but you get what I mean, right? Like and usually people don't know that they can capitalize the first word on marketing materials. It doesn't matter when you're typing it in a URL, but for marketing materials, can you imagine if this was not capitalized? You wouldn't know where things ended, where things begun. So always a good tip to capitalize the first letter of a word in your marketing materials. Okay, so your email, anything that has your domain name, okay, your email address and your domain. Does that make sense? Okay, so Terry Osti, let me tell you that we're kind of rebranding for Terry. So that's my husband. And way back when, everybody said, you're an agent, you just used your name. And we thought, oh, okay, well, we didn't know. So now it's like, I don't know. We're rebranding soon. When I talk about it next time, probably on another webinar about this, I'll mention, oh, actually, I think I have it on the new slide here, just a sec. So, or should you use something more generic, like a phone number, like a more generic name? Now, two things, well, not two things, but one thing to think about that is that, let's say you started out, you've grown a really successful real estate business, and you want to kind of semi-retire or retire at some point. Would it be easier to give or sell, but then keep the referrals, right? The right-hand side or the left-hand side? So I'm a new agent coming up and you say, hey, do you want www.416homes.com or phone number.homes or houses in blah, blah in LA.homes or .com? Does that make sense? Because then they could pay you to take it all over and then pay you to get, you could get a referral fee for all the stuff that's properly set up, right? It literally is that easy, but it's just that I don't think agents think about it being a real business, and that's a real business. Does that make sense? Hassan, what is the best price to get a .homes? Oh, that's a great question. Prices for the .homes. So in my understanding, how it works is that, if it's like in Vancouver, let's say we wanted to buy Vancouver, I'm sure it's not available now, but Vancouver.homes, it would probably have cost us, 15, 18,000 US, right? If you wanted something less popular, it might be 5 or 6 grand, and even less popular, it might be 1,500. But if it's like not popular at all, then it might be $20. Like, it's really dependent. You have to go to darcitalks.com, go to the, actually, Ray, can you put the link to the approved resources, and then people can click on that later, open it up and click on it later. And then you can go to that, I think it's the third option down that you click on it. I can't remember now. It says .homes, but click on it, and then you can type in what you want, and it'll tell you whether it's available and the cost. Okay. All right. Let's continue on. So after domains, any questions on domains? That's just a real kind of overview about domains and purchasing domains, and food for thought if there's any new agents is to maybe not use your name, but something else. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's now talk about my favorite subject, email. All right. The very first thing I want to do is give you a bit of email education, because I think if you understand why you're having issues, you'll understand how important it is to fix them. Okay. So let's talk. We're going to talk 5 minutes or so about email education. So this is what I see is I see agents running their business off of Hotmail or iCloud or Yahoo or TELUS or Shaw. My American, any American friends here? You guys might be using Comcast, or I've seen AOL, MSN. I really have seen everything. So if you're using a free email address, you're harming your business. Okay, guaranteed, for a few reasons I'm going to talk about today. So I want you to understand that every single email address that you have. So here's a good question for you guys out there. And I've seen everything under the sun, but how many people have, well, actually put how many email addresses you use, both business and personal, in the chat. Might be 1, it might be, I've seen 26, I think was the highest I've seen, which is a lot. But I wonder, I'm just curious how many email addresses you have. And I would say the normal amount is probably 5 or 6 email addresses that people have to manage. Oh, you guys are scared. You're not going to put it in there. I won't say your name. I promise. Okay. Every single email address that you have has obviously the email address, but it has a folder structure, a possible folder structure. Contacts attached to it, and a calendar attached to it. So you understand that if you've got 5 email addresses, each of these has those different things. And the thing that gets very confusing for people is that you start adding contacts on your phone and you don't know where they're going, right? You update a contact and you don't know which email address is it attached to. Does that make sense, you guys? And this is where we find that people get so messed up because they don't really understand what's going on. They know they updated that client's information somewhere, but it isn't everywhere. Do you hear me, what I'm saying? Say yes, no, you have no idea what I'm talking about. This is an interactive webinar. Okay, so let's now flip this. So I want to call that the headquarters. Okay, so that is whatever email address you have, whether it's Yahoo or Shaw or whatever, it's the headquarters, right? And so I want you to understand that. So what happens is people say things, and then I know they don't really understand how it works because of the sentence structure that they say. So I want you to understand how everything works. So you can be using Outlook desktop software or Mac desktop software to view any headquarters email, any email. It is only software that we use to view email, okay? So we have other viewers on your devices. You might be using Apple Mail, you might be using Gmail, you might be using an Outlook app on your phone. They are only viewers of your headquarters and your email. Okay, that's all they are. They're vendors that provide software so we can look at our email. If you are a browser user, Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, you could be just going to access your email, the headquarters, from the web called webmail. Does that make sense? Because what we find, I find a lot of times people will say that they use Outlook, but they don't mean Outlook. They actually mean Outlook desktop software they're using to view their Yahoo or Shaw email. So you have to understand what the difference is. So your email is Shaw, but the stuff you view it with is Outlook. Okay, any questions on that? Now I'll tell you what I recommend is I actually don't ever recommend using the third-party software on your computers, your Macs or your Windows computer. I don't actually recommend using Outlook or MacMail. Those are the two big ones. There's other ones. I'm just talking about the two big ones. But any third-party desktop software, because that adds another layer of stuff that can go wrong. Does that make sense? Because things can go wrong, like maybe Outlook does a software update and it messes up your something on Outlook. Like, we don't know. It's just another third layer. And then the problem is also that some people use Outlook and then they have these what we call plugins to Outlook. And the plugins can mess things up, and it can mess up your contacts and calendar and your folders. Things can happen. You know what I mean, right? So I always recommend for computers that you go to the source, which is the headquarters, which is using Chrome, Firefox, or Internet Explorer to access your webmail. Okay, any questions? You guys are very quiet. No questions. Okay, I'm going to continue on. All right, let's keep going. So I want you to understand that the free emails, generally speaking, free emails, this is why you're having a problem, and this is why you need to fix it. Okay, free emails are like this. They're either old technology where it's POP or IMAP. Now I'm going to explain what POP or IMAP is because I think most people don't understand it. Okay, does that make sense? You've all heard of POP or IMAP, right? Yes, you have. Let me just see if there's a question. My agent has mortgage emails, realtor emails, personal emails. I use Outlook and I have them all in one place. Yeah, I do have suggestions, and ask me again at the end, okay, if it doesn't make sense. So I get it sometimes. Now, sometimes there's a reason to have multiple email addresses, but most of the time there isn't. So maybe for you, it's okay, but let's just whip through this and talk about it, okay? So let's assume, I'm going to talk about Shaw and TELUS. If anyone uses Shaw and TELUS, you can pay attention to this, because Shaw and TELUS are horrible to be using for your business. So what happens is that old technology, can it sync your email? No, it's a one-way download to any device that you've allowed access to. So on webmail, if you open an email, you can't see it read on your device because it's separate databases in a manner, okay? Does it sync folders? Nope. You create a folder on Outlook or webmail or your phone. They're all independently different because it just does not sync or integrate properly. Does it sync your contacts? Nope. Does it sync your calendar? Nope. Integrate with any CRM? No darn way. And does it offer cloud storage? No. IMAP is slightly better. That was the newer technology a long time ago, like a long time ago. It does sync the email, so that's a little bit better. And it does sync the folders, but it does nothing else. So now again, you're managing different contacts. If you have, let's say Shaw on different systems, viewers, you're having different contacts, lists of contacts. So no wonder it's confusing, right? So the new way of doing it is having a properly set up email, properly configured, and look what happens. Everything talks to everything else. That's what I'm saying. In that perfect world, if I update my phone, it updates my CRM, it updates Outlook if I'm using Outlook, if it's properly configured, it updates your webmail if that's what you're using, the browser version. So everything talks to each other. If I delete a contact, it deletes everywhere. If I update a calendar appointment, it updates everywhere. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing. If I move move an email to a folder, it moves it everywhere. Do you hear what I'm saying? Yes? Okay, let's keep going. So why does it matter? Well, here's a few reasons why it matters for you guys is that you spend so much darn time trying to find your stuff, and you waste time. We think agents waste about 10 hours a week trying to find their stuff, which is so frustrating. Where is it? And losing deals. Now, here's the thing is, could you lose a deal because you're using a Shaw email? Yeah, for a couple reasons. One is it's kind of unprofessional. Why are you using Shaw? And also, well, TELUS, let's look at TELUS. Any TELUS users that were impacted by that 10-day outage or 2-week outage that you did not get any emails, and that was what you were giving to clients? Can you imagine? People lost like a lot of money in that 2-week period when they could not get access to their email because the TELUS server was down. TELUS and Shaw, or anybody who is using internet service providers for email, it's just not right. Their specialty is wireless in your home, not emails. They just provided it. I actually wish they wouldn't provide it, but they get you stuck because you use their Shaw or TELUS or Comcast or whatever it might be, and then you want to switch, or maybe you have to switch because you're moving to an area where they no longer provide service. What are you going to do? You lose everything. You have to get this fixed. Is there any questions about that? I can't tell you, I've seen this over and over and over and over and over again throughout me helping agents, okay? And then you have to juggle a million things because nothing is integrated, nothing is working. You're managing all these different emails and contacts and calendars and folders, and you don't know where your stuff is, right? Okay, so that's one reason. And then, of course, I love this picture. You're stressed out. It's stressful because you don't know how to fix it and you don't understand why. Now, hopefully I've given you a little bit more information of why stuff is happening. And I'll talk to you a little bit later about what you can do about it, okay? So we don't want you stressed out because it would be great if everything just worked and talked to each other, no matter what you did, right? And technology isn't really the enemy. It's not. The real enemy is, and the real problem is, your foundation of your business is not set up properly, right? And we all know that. I'm with a bunch of agents. That's bad, right? If your foundation isn't set up properly, that's what happens. So if it's set up properly, then you actually can enjoy time with your family, not being stressed out with your stuff, right? You can find your stuff, you can do more deals, and God forbid you can go on vacation, right? We all know that when you go on vacation, what happens? Everybody starts wanting you to list their property or buy property, right? It always happens. It's so funny. It's just every single time that Terry and I plan a vacation, something crazy happens in the industry or with his clients. So, but it's cool that you can do that, right? So you can spend more time, more quality time with your friends, your family, and not be stressed out about all this bad stuff, okay? All right. So let's talk about why cheap and free is costing you money. So those cheap and free software, cheap and free emails. So if we put it in a different perspective, because sometimes you don't see it when you're in it. You know what I mean? So if you were going to hire a lawyer and you went to the first guy up there and that gal and you liked them both, right? Hopefully we never have to hire a lawyer, but let's just say you did. And they seem really great, and all things being equal, that guy has Joe the Best Lawyer 1973 at yahoo.com, and this gal is all professional, and her email address is jenny@smithlaw.com. I mean, no one's going to hire the other guy, right? If they're all things being equal. We all know now that the extension smithlaw.com, I can go look that up. This is made up, so they're not real. But smithlaw.com, I'm sure there is a smithlaw.com. We could take that and go to smithlaw.com and see that Jenny actually works there. We get a little bit more information about Smith Law, get a better understanding. We can look at some client reviews possibly. But yahoo.com, not good, right? You understand that. So are you losing deals because of that? I'm going to say probably. You just don't know about it. It looks extremely unprofessional. It's inconsistent with your branding. It's less confident and trustworthy. You don't look legitimate. And it isn't me saying this. A study says that 75% of consumers say an email address matching your domain is critical to trust and professionalism, especially if they don't know you at all, right? It's a cold listing. They don't know you. They want to go find out more about you. Yet you got a Yahoo, Shaw, TELUS. It's really, you have to pay attention to this stuff. And sometimes what I see agents do, and again, this is so bad. So let's say that Jenny at Smith Law, she gives out that email address, but it actually forwards to her Shaw account, right? So what happens is if you're smart enough, like I'm the client, I go, oh, okay, I'm going to put Jenny at Smith Law in my contacts, and that's how I'm going to contact her. When I email her, and let's say I do get, because sometimes Shaw ends up in spam, it doesn't, my email client, my email viewer says, well, it's Jenny at smithlaw.com. I don't know who the Shaw is. It's going to go to spam, more than likely, right? So you're doing yourself a disservice if you actually look good, but you're still, the backside of it is not set up properly. Any questions? My quiet friends. You guys are quiet. No questions. Okay. Am I scaring you? Is that why? Okay, let's continue on. All right. Cheap and free. You have to access different emails on different devices. I've seen people do that, which is not good. Okay. So you're forwarding emails to a personal email. I talked about that. You use your brokerage email. Now, here's the thing you got to think about. Because again, every time something happens, I was like, it's in my arsenal to help other agents. And this happens all the time. So if you're using your brokerage address as a forwarder and you give that out to your clients, now maybe you're going to stay with that brokerage forever, but we don't know what forever is really, right? This is what I see all the time. Some opportunity happens, or I know recently a brokerage closed down. So we don't know. So why would you ever use a brokerage email to forward it to your personal email? Okay, so I would always give out your actual email and not the whatever, Sutton or C21 or KW or whatever your brokerage email is, okay? And then the other thing is if they actually are giving you a non-forwarding email as a brokerage, who owns that data? Here's the thing that I've seen is I've had agents come to me after the fact, they're leaving and they want to get the stuff. Well, it's their data. Now, in theory, you would think that they'd say, yes, that's fine. You can export your contacts because they're yours. But are they yours? They own the data. They own the email. They're paying the monthly fee for it. Who owns the stuff? They're certainly probably not going to let you forward your email to the new brokerage you're going to. You have to think about these things, okay? Any questions? I've seen this. I can't tell you how many times I've helped agents get out of a mess. But if you think about it before it happens, then you're golden, okay? All right, using role-based emails, that's what it's called in the industry, in the IT world of email, it's called role-based emails. And what I mean by that is info at, help at, contact at. You can just Google this later, Google role-based emails. Ray, I don't think, did you put, sorry, I'm just looking back up. I asked you to put the link to the resources page so people can go look at the .homes. Thank you. But role-based emails, you can Google them. And so what happens with role-based emails? So let's say I had an email address, info@darcitalks.com. They're associated with high bounce rates, high spam complaints, and spam traps. And could that mean that your clients and other agents aren't getting your email? Absolutely. And most of the time with role-based emails, you can't sign up for newsletters or anything else because they're not considered an actual email address. So if you've ever had problems with it, that's why. So don't use a role-based email either. And there's ways to fix it if you've been giving people out role-based emails. I know how to do it, but there is ways to fix it that you don't miss emails, okay? All right, let's keep going. Your email's tied to your internet service provider. I already talked about Shaw, TELUS, Comcast, AOL, MSN, whoever's out there, okay? That is bad because, well, it's just bad. I've already said how bad it is. You're managing multiple email addresses. You're managing multiple databases and contacts and leads that are never really up to date because they're not talking to each other. So you update one, you got to remember to update 5 other places. Now, oh my gosh, how much time and energy is that to remember? And guaranteed you're going to make errors, right? When you're copying information in multiple databases. That's so bad. You update a contact or calendar and it doesn't update everywhere. You update your CRM contacts and it doesn't update your phone, Outlook, MacMail, any viewer that you're using. If they're not integrated and it's not set up properly, that's frustrating, right? So we want to make sure that, you know, the cheap and free is costing you business. So you not make sure, we want to make sure you understand why this is a problem. You read an email that shows unread elsewhere. We see that all the time. And again, that's that pop email or IMAP email. Pop email. Sorry, pop email. If you read an email, it'll show unread on all your other devices. You move an email, right? It doesn't move on other devices. So then you get confused. Did I answer that email? Because the sent items isn't on the other device. You hear me, right? It's so confusing for people. Apple users, huge problem with Apple users. Oh my goodness, let me tell you, I fixed this a lot with agents. And it's not your fault. Honestly, it's not your fault. It's very confusing how Apple words things when you're setting up your device. And so what happens is, now you've got all the other emails you have and they've got contacts associated with them. And then you turn on, unbeknownst to you, why and what's happening. But when you update a contact on your Apple, iPad, iPhone, it updates in Apple's iCloud, not where you want it to update. You hear me? It's so frustrating for you guys, I know. Again, we talked about moving folders. GoDaddy sometimes says, well, they'll set up your email. For agents, usually they're setting it up on the wrong platform. And I always say, if you're going to set up something, you should do it. It shouldn't be under someone else's umbrella. You want to own it. If you get rid of GoDaddy and you move your domain to somewhere else as the registrar, you don't want to be stuck with GoDaddy. You know what I mean? Hopefully you know what I mean. Again, you guys are so quiet. Okay, this actually happened. An agent said they sent you an email, but you can't find it. So you're looking and looking, you can never find it. And during the hours that you're trying to find this email, and maybe they should have texted, yes, but this literally happened, that the email was lost. So they emailed back from their SHA. It went into the agent's spam and they lost the deal. So, you know, has that ever happened to anybody? Just email issues and you lost a deal because of it? Seriously, just curious. Because I hear it all the time. Missed emails, lost emails. You just have, you know, maybe the other agent should have texted them, but they didn't. We can't control what other people do. Are you guys here? I'm just curious. I'm going to start my video. Are you guys here? You're very quiet. All right. Just say hello. I feel like maybe my webinar stopped working. There's a chat feature that you can chat in if you've joined us late. It should be on the bottom of your screen. You just hit chat and you can talk to us as the co-host, or you can talk to everybody. Okay. I'm going to stop. Ray, are we there? Ray will answer me.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, let's keep going. You're marketing for your email provider and not yourself. That's another thing. I talked about that, right? But if you're Darci at shaw.com or telus.net or AOL.com or yahoo.ca, whatever, I'm not marketing for myself, right? I'm marketing for somebody else. And that's very important, right? To market for yourself. And forwarding can delay in your industry. In other industries, I would say, who cares? But in your industry, when sometimes time does matter with offers, your forwarding sometimes delays up to 30 minutes because it's bouncing between email addresses and servers, right? That's bad. I hate forwards. I do not suggest forwarding much, okay? Okay, let's now talk about what looks better. I'm gonna quickly move through this. We've got the at TELUS, at Shaw, at Yahoo, at Gmail, whatever, it doesn't matter. Or the right-hand side, right? What side looks better, you guys? Left or right? See, maybe if I'm silent, you'll answer. Okay, the right-hand side looks better. We know that. This is the one that we're rebranding and moving some stuff to the Okanagan. So Terry's going to have Kelowna.homes. Instead of Terry, we're keeping terryosty.com for now, just because it's well known for the Vancouver market. But as we move to Kelowna and do it, we're going to use Kelowna.homes. Don't go look at it because it looks crappy now. It's a site we're not giving out yet. and we're switching it as of mid-April, and then you can go look at it. Okay, so what looks better? The right-hand side does. We all know that. Okay, so you want to always be thinking about how you're projecting yourself in your business. And here's the thing that I don't want you to do. This is what I used to just kind of tell people to go do it. And then what happens is this, okay? Don't just go set up a business account, because you must understand the implications and repercussions of doing it the right way, configured the right way on the proper system. Okay, please don't just go do it if you have no understanding of what is right and what will work with CRMs, because this is where I was talking about it has to be top down. Okay, I'll give you an opportunity at the end if you want to book a 30-minute chat to see if I can help you. But well, I see this just happened this week that someone said, hey, I took your suggestions and I went and set up this email, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you did it. You spent money and time and you did it wrong. So now if I'm going to help you and get it working with your CRM, we have to fix everything that you just did. Okay, so please understand that. All right, let's talk cloud now. Other cloud. That was email cloud. If you have any questions about that, please ask now about email, how the structure works. If you have any questions, please, well, I'm here. I'd love to be able to help you, or we can direct you to book a 30-minute session with me, okay? All right, then let's talk cloud. So we talked about domains, we talked about email, and how issues with email impact everything. They really do, right? It really, really does. And so then when we're talking about cloud storage, your email address is attached to cloud storage. So if your Shaw account's attached to your cloud storage, then you know what I mean? Like you're sending things to people and links it's sent from, and looks like it's from Shaw. So it's so important to understand this too. So let's briefly talk about how cloud storage works. So basically, it's tied to an email address. Every single cloud storage service is tied to an email address. And this is what I see all the time, that people don't really understand clouds. You're pretty new to this cloud storage, aren't you? Well, the guy's flipping that filing cabinet up into the air, right? You're gonna store it. But it's kind of similar to that. But what I see, and I'm gonna say, is like 90% of the time when I'm helping agents and I look at their computer, they've downloaded Dropbox and Google Drive and OneDrive and whatever, and then they're saving stuff to their hard drive, so nothing's being backed up, and they don't have an external backup. And you know, you can be really screwed if your computer dies and all your data is gone, right? I mean, it just makes sense. Cloud storage is a life-saving thing. So, but I want you to understand there's kind of two sides of cloud storage. There is that side we just talked about, which is the email address and the emails and the folders and contacts and calendars and way more, but I'm just trying to make this easy to understand. And then there's the file cloud storage. So folders on your computer, documents on your computer, music on your computer, photos, personal and business. I never differentiate. If you understand me and you've heard me talk before, I never differentiate between my personal and my business. I email my mom and my brothers and my friends and my clients and my bank from my business email. I put folders on my cloud storage of personal stuff I want to share with my family. It's all linked to my business email. All right. Okay, so we're going to talk about this one, the files in the cloud. So what is the cloud? I want you to really understand what the cloud is. It's data. So the data is email, calendar, contacts, files. That's the email side. And then it's photos and documents and folders. I can't speak folders. Anything stored on remote service accessed from the internet or software is the cloud. All right. So usually it's maintained and operated by big guys, the big guys like Microsoft, Google, Dropbox. Okay. I mean, in a simplistic manner, that's what it is. So the apps that are out there, generally speaking, that people use, iCloud, Dropbox, OneDrive, Google Drive. What do you guys use? Or not? It's okay. It's okay not to use, because now you'll understand that you should be. Do you use, what do most people use? I'd love to hear, like, are you an iCloud user? Do you use everything, a little bit of everything? Do you just use OneDrive? Are you a Google Drive user? Are you Google Drive's business product is called FileStream. There's lots of other ones out there. There's like Box.net, there's SugarSync, there's, I'm trying to think of all the other, these are the big one, the 4 big ones, but there's other ones out there too. So Paul, hey Paul, how you doing? Okay, so great. So does that mean that everybody else isn't using anything? Because there's ways to fix it. It's okay. It's okay to not know what to do. But I hope that the value I'll give to you today is to understand that if you aren't using cloud storage properly, or it's not set up properly, what would happen if you think about what would happen if your computer dies right now? Are you like, oh my goodness, I am messed up? Are you crying? Or are you like me, because my stuff's set up properly? If my computer dies, I get another computer. Yes, it's sad. You have to dish out some more money, but my stuff's good. All my email, my contacts, my calendar, everything is up in the cloud, all my files, my personal, my business folders, my tax stuff, my whatever, it's all backed up and easily downloaded again. So I literally, if my stuff was a problem, let's say my computer crashed, I could go log on to my husband's laptop and get access to everything I need. Okay. Let me just see if there's any questions. Bullet OneDrive as well as Google. Yeah, perfect. Is there a way I can back up my Mac using Time Machine directly to G Suite? Oh, that's a good question. So for non-Mac users, it's kind of like a Time Machine's a backup of the information on a Mac's hard drive per se. It should be, but that would be a question for probably Apple to Google whether it will or not. It depends. There's so many kind of gotchas on that when you're asking me that question, because I don't know if you're talking about using Outlook or using MacMail, or you're talking about files and folders and things like that. So if it works out for you to book a session, we could talk about your specific stuff, okay? All right, perfect. So those are the 4 kind of big guys for cloud storage apps, all right? And here's what I see with cloud storage issues. I see people's desktop that looks like this, and you know what I used to do, and I'm gonna tell you, I used to hate doing it, but I used to, way back when I started my career decades ago, I did help desk support, and we would go and help people that had this big mess on their desktop. Because you should not have folders, direct folders and things on your desktop. It slows your computer down, whether you're a Mac or a Windows user. And it should not look like this. If I could show you my desktop, you would be so proud. I'm very proud of my desktop. My desktop literally has I'm just looking at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 icons, and they're shortcuts. And actually about 3 of them I can delete because I don't really use them. Literally my desktop has nothing but a gorgeous image on it, because we don't want it to slow down the computer every time you log on, okay? So we don't want that. That's a really bad example of a bad desktop. And I just stole that from the internet. That's nobody's that I know, okay? Question, is it safe to store confidential information? That's a great question. So I'm gonna tell you my views about that. So if you're connected to Wi-Fi, people can, bad people can get in if your passwords are, bad. They can get in somehow and grab your information anyhow. I know that the cloud storage people, you can go and look at whichever your chosen source is of how they encrypt the data. And I also say, like, I'm not the president of the United States, that nobody's looking to steal my information, because he sure shouldn't be using any cloud storage, because it should be more controlled and secure. But for the average person, I don't think it matters. But you can go look at, everybody talks about it, so you can go look at it on the vendor's site about their encryption and confidential. I personally store all my stuff in the cloud, everything. And the other question I also get is, well, so what happens if whoever, Dropbox, OneDrive, Google, Microsoft, whoever, server goes down? Well, it doesn't, I don't care, because one of the things is there's all redundant servers, and so it's not like your information sits on one server somewhere. It's not. I used to work with servers, so it's across a bunch of different servers. So what in a perfect world, if one server goes down, the other one picks up the info, and you should maybe notice a blip, if anything at all. And then the other side is, if everything goes down, We don't care what's happening because we have a world crisis, okay? It's not going to matter what's on our computers. Great question. That's my opinion, anyhow. So this is the issues I see with cloud storage is that your personal email is linked to your cloud storage app. So then when you go to share HOA documents or strata docs, it's again from that personal email, may or may not get there. And then you're saying, oh, but I sent it. Oh, let me try another email address. Maybe you'll get that. Like, it's just so frustrating, right? How many people have had issues sending large docs to other agents, like registered strata, HOA plans, engineering reports? And what do you do when it's rejected? Do you have to phone them, right? You're spending time on the phone trying to figure out another way to get the information when you can share the folder with the other agent, okay? So you think that you have to use the same cloud storage apps that other agents use. You don't. If the other agent knows how to share properly, like back in kindergarten, right? Then it doesn't matter. You download it to where you want it to go. You don't have to use whatever they use. You can't pull up that important file on your phone if you're not set up and configured properly. So if you have to drive back to the office, that is a pain, right? You have to drive back to the office to get that file. What a pain, because in this day and age, you don't have to do that. You don't have to fax. Faxing is not required anymore, except to the government. Okay, but you shouldn't have to fax in your business. You attach individual documents to emails. Okay, how many times have we had that where you send 3 emails and you attach individual documents for the other agent? They want to pull their hair out, by the way. That's horrible. That's not a good way to do business. Your computers or wireless device dies and all your files are gone. Like, that's sad. I've had that happen to somebody who isn't using the proper cloud storage. And he spent 10 grand to try and get his stuff fixed. 10 grand. Okay. Let me just see. I have a comment. I share a link to the G Suite where the document is saved and allowed the person to download. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Love it. Love it. As long as you understand how to put the right rights on the shared folder, right? That they're not in your organization, it's outside your organization. There's lots of things to talk about in sharing, that you understand how sharing works. That's awesome. Love it. Okay. So in the perfect world, we want you to be able to update once and it updates everywhere. One time, right? Like, isn't that beautiful? It's a one-time update. So we've talked now about domains and email, cloud storage. We're doing great for time. Now I'm going to talk about CRMs, because this is what I see over and over, is that agents pay for a CRM, don't use it. They don't use a CRM and it will change your life. I love CRMs. Okay, so we'll talk about CRMs. So what if you don't know what a CRM is, because maybe you don't, it's client relationship management. And we like to shorten everything, right? And so if you can say it, client relationship management software, it helps you speed up routine processes and stay in touch with clients and prospective clients. Keeps in touch and get more referral and repeat business, because you're consistently keeping in touch with people, your clients. And you can nurture and convert leads into clients, because most of the time, this is what I see. People just throw their money with lead gens, and yet they're not keeping in touch with their actual past clients. That is your gold. You understand that, right? If you're really honest with yourselves, if you're people who are listening in this webinar, and let's say you do 10 deals a year, but you've never kept in touch for the last 10 years or 20 years with any of those people, can you hazard a guess about how much money that you've left on the table? I'm serious. Like, I want you to answer this. Even if you are doing it, if you're awesome and you kept in touch with people, but let's say you didn't. Tell me what you think. How much money do you think you've lost every year by not keeping in touch with people? $1,000, $5,000, $10,000? Are you guys all calculating? That's why no one's putting anything in the chat. $100,000? It is so much money, and it's because your systems are not properly set up in order to do this, right? I had a client who said it's easily $100,000 a year. It makes me so sad. You're just throwing money away and you're leaving money on the table. So You should never have to manually type your clients into a CRM. Though the vendors will say that you can, as they want your business, and they aren't the foundation experts. Import a spreadsheet into your CRM. That's bad. Now, it's okay if a one-time thing, and then that means that we imported the information in, and now you also have the information on your phone, on Outlook, on MacMail, on your web browser, whatever, wherever your contacts are. But that never happens because your systems aren't set up properly. So you're importing and you're managing multiple databases, your contacts on your phone, contacts everywhere else, contacts on your CRM. That makes sense? Okay. Oh, I added this slide and I'm like, oh, why did I do that? I just did this a couple days ago. Okay, so that actually means that you have a contact and it's not talking to anything. So it's in all these multiple different locations. It's so frustrating, okay? So we want it to be integrated properly with a proper business system. So you update your CRM, it updates everywhere, right? And vice versa. We want everything to be talking to each other. So using a CRM isn't the only thing, it is everything. And I know what's going to happen. People are going to, if you guys are brave, because you have not been very chatty, if you're brave, you say, well, what's the best CRM that I should be using? And that's my answer, is the one you'll use. Now, if we talk, I kind of need, before I recommend anything to any agents, I need to understand how you're set up now and what the details are to get you set up properly. So I do have a favorite CRM. I'm not telling you what it is because it's okay if you use some other one, but you have to use it. It is gold for you. You must use it. You can't just keep paying for it. You must send out email blasts. You must set up drip campaigns. Does that make sense? I can't tell you. It's life-changing. Life-changing. Because how much money are you losing by not keeping in touch? Again, I see agents spend $10,000 on a website, $1,000 a month for sales coaching or lead gen software, and yet won't spend the money to get their systems fixed, which is costing you a lot of money. Okay, so I want to help you guys, and you have a choice about what you can do. I want you to understand that your old, I love this saying, your old contacts are your gold contacts. This information that I'm giving you, I hope, is transformational to understand kind of issues in your business. And we know that a lot of agents need help. So I'm sure you got a lot of value out of today. I hope you did. Did anyone learn anything today? At least one thing. That's the goal. At least one thing that you can understand kind of issues in your business and how fixing it can save you money and time. Okay. So we talked about domains, and we talked about email, and we talked about cloud storage, and we also talked about CRMs. And so we want your, in a domain and a proper business email setup, again, a proper one that's configured properly. Look at how everything relies on the business email, even though you might not understand this. Okay. Cheryl, you've been quiet. Oh my goodness. How are you? I want to give you a big virtual hug. I haven't talked to you in ages. Nice to see you here. Okay. So proper business email, all these things all attached to a proper business email. Okay, proper business email, cloud storage, CRMs, proper business, any CRM that is good integrates, okay, with a proper business email. It's not managed separately. Apps, DocuSign, PDF Expert, I just did a couple apps there, okay, but there's a gazillion apps out there, but they all are integrated with a proper business email. It's so important to understand that, okay? So the old way of doing things is really using that cheap and free emails, multiple cheap and free emails, not being able to access anything on your wireless device. None of your stuff is integrated properly. So you're doing things multiple times over and over again. That's the definition of insanity. And it's so tedious and so time consuming. Okay. Oh my goodness. Saving everything on your computer, but not being able to access it from any other device anywhere in the world, anything that you've authorized to access it. Let me just see, there's a question. We can design multiple signatures so we can use Outlook on iPhone, Outlook app too. Can we, oh, okay. So I have a whole thing about signatures. Again, when we chat, if you choose to chat with me, we can talk about that. I will tell you, and I don't want to get into the specifics of, because I don't want to go over too much here, but you should not be putting images and logos or any icons in your signature. And yes, we can design a proper business signature for any software that you use to send email. Okay, so the answer is yes, for sure. Okay, having to drive back home to your office for anything, right? Paying for lead gen. Again, this drives me crazy when agents are come and ask me about, who's a good lead gen company. And my first question is, okay, so how long have you been an agent? Now, if you're new, yes, fine. If you've been around for a while, my first question is, how are you keeping in touch with your past clients? Before you pay for lead gen, which sometimes can be very, very expensive, $1,000, $2,000 a month, right? Are you keeping in touch with your past clients? Because those are your gold. Okay, paying for ads when you could generate repeat and referral business from proper business system setup. Easy for me to say, hey? Okay, so the new way of doing things is not that new, my friends, is that you can imagine a world where all you do is update anywhere and it updates everywhere, right? No more manual data entry, automatic syncing information, including your CRM, right? Oh, I love it. I love this stuff. You can go away and it won't cost you a deal. You can get that file you need from your phone or tablet or computer. You don't have to run back anywhere. You move an email to a folder. It moves it everywhere you view it. Okay. Enter information in real time everywhere. It's so amazing. You get your time back up to like 10 or more hours a week, depending how messed up your systems are, right? It really is amazing. And you fill up your funnel with repeat and referral business from a proper business setup. $10,000 to $100,000 more a year from keeping in touch with people. If you're not keeping in touch, that's a problem. And I would say, like, you haven't failed yet. I'm not saying because you're not doing this. How would you know how to fix all this stuff? You've not failed. You've just found 10,000 ways that haven't worked yet, right? You haven't failed in your business, and we can fix it. So the other thing I always say, this is my husband always says this, is that just because you drive a car doesn't mean you know how to fix it, which is so true, right? We don't need to know how it's fixed. We take it to an expert and they can fix it, and now it's running smooth. That's kind of what I do with the tech side. So you kind of have a choice now, whether you've been in business for new or 8 years or 30 years, never kept in touch, and you're chasing new leads all the time. The real cost of doing nothing is the money that you aren't going to make. I'm going to let that resonate with you, right? The missed opportunities because you haven't kept in touch with people because you don't know how to easily do it because your systems are so mucked up. Oh my goodness. Okay. So what I have done is, now I have to tell you that if you're going to do this, you should do this soon, because I only have a few slots available because I'm going away on holidays next week. So I can only talk next week, actually, and I've only got a few slots available in between other stuff I'm doing. But Ray, he's fast. Ray's going to put that link there, and you can book a time. What's going to happen is you'll fill out a short little form, then you'll get an email to my calendar, and you can book a time. It doesn't confirm automatically. What will happen is that I will have to confirm. I look at it, make sure that that all works, and then you'll get a confirmation email that it's scheduled, and then you and I will sit down and look at your systems and see if I can help you. Some people I can't, but most people I can. So I hope you take advantage of that strategy call where I can look at your stuff. So that is in the chat. If you want to click on that link and do that. And if you can't do it next week, there's also on the little booking page, there's a way to get a hold of my assistant Ray, and he can book it for when I'm back later in March. Okay. If you also want to ask questions or join webinars, we always post on our free Facebook group for agents, and that's streamlinedagents.com. Ray is going to put that in there, and we'll follow up with an email as well with what to do. So, if you're not clicking or you're not writing this down, that's all good. And then what we're going to do now is a Q&A, and then what we started doing last time, which I thought was pretty cool, is we're going to review, if you're brave enough, because I'm going to go through, we're going to review someone's online presence. So if you want me to do, the first person who puts their name in the chat is the person I'm going to review. If no one's brave enough, we just won't do it today. But if you want me to actually, as I would look at it from a client perspective. So ask questions here, but if you want me to review how a client may find you and what may be wrong with your links on your website or whatever, we'll see what we find. Just put your name in the chat and you will be the one I review. Come on, you guys. It's little things that need, there you go, Cheryl. Nice. So while you guys book calls and do stuff, oh, maybe if we have time, Gary, I'll do yours. No more, you guys weren't fast enough. Okay, so I'm gonna do this. Okay, so let's see Cheryl. So let's pretend Cheryl, and this is what you guys should do for yourself. Okay, so Gary, if we don't have time to do yours, come to the next one. I like doing this. You want to see what people find. So we do this every 6 months for ourselves and see what do people find if they Google Terry or other clients. I always tell my clients to do this every 6 months. Put it in your CRM to remind you to do that. Put it in your calendar, do it as a task. Okay, Cheryl, let's see what we have. So I go like this and I see Cheryl. Now, let's see. Now I can't see. Now, I might be smart enough. Now I'm going to pretend I don't know what you look like, Cheryl. Okay. Let's just say you emailed me and I don't know anything else about you. So I might say, well, I don't see anything about an agent called Cheryl. Did I spell your name right? Right. I did. Yeah. So I'm actually going to put real estate here because maybe they'll put real estate. Okay. So there you go. So here's one of the things, Cheryl, you come up in Google, but you don't come up. This is a Google business profile. Let's just see, hold on, let me just see. So I don't see that the reviews are linked in here, but let's just see if the website works, if it goes to the proper link. Come on. There we go, perfect. I'm gonna go back to here. I'm gonna put your name again. Oops, I didn't, oops, wrong thing, hold on. Cheryl Jacobs, real estate. I'm going to look back at this. I just want to move this over here. Okay, so basically what I do is I'll click on that and see, and then I'm going to right click and go new tab. This came up in second, which is awesome, and I've already got it up already there because that's the same link here as there, which is good. You've done some slide share. I might actually, if I was trying to figure out whether I want to work with you, I might look at that. LinkedIn, I might want to look at that. REW, I might want to look at that. Instagram, I might want to look at that. Okay, so I'll just do those ones just for the sake of time, right? So let's first look at this. Now, you and I are friends already, but if we weren't, it would pop up and I would be able to see, yes, you truly are an agent. That's good. You got a link to the Coldwell Banker. But let me just go over to your actual website because I want to see something. Welcome to beautiful BC. Oh, this looks like a WordPress site maybe. I'm not really sure. But let's just see if I was going to click on this link. Okay, it does go. I'm guessing, Cheryl, maybe you don't have a Facebook business page, so you're directing them to your personal page, which is fine. And let's just go over here. Okay, I'm just going to see if all the social links, because this is where I see a lot of problems usually, is the social links are broken. So you guys want to go, this is a really good tip, go to your website and see where do those social links take. Are they broken? Did you change your page? What's going on? Do they work? Because I see this all the time that stuff gets broken. You've done something, maybe you changed the Facebook page name or the Instagram name, but you forgot that you put it in other spots, right? Okay, so this is good. Let me go back to your website. Where are you here, Cheryl? Here. So you are with, So what I would suggest just by rules and regulations is you always have to have your brokerage information. Maybe I just can't see it, but your brokerage information usually has to be on the bottom and displayed on every page. Or, oh, you just moved. Oh, okay. Well, so this is, you need to fix this. Okay. So we need to get that updated and sorted because not that I'm going to say it, but, and not that the public would know anything, but it's usually other agents reporting other agents that by law you can't, you have to have your brokerage and all your brokerage information. So you're going to fix that. That's awesome. And also, so you're going to have to, oh, you fixed this. This is the CB is here. Awesome. And then you want to make sure, let's just, why didn't that? Okay. So the link didn't work. The Pinterest link. The Instagram one does, and info. Okay, good. See what, here's another tip, you guys. I love that. So in here, you want to put your, again, you should put your brokerage. Some bios don't have the proper amount of space for us to do this, but we want to put email. You did that. Great. You want to put your phone number. You want to put your brokerage if you can. If you're a personal real estate corporation, it should be spelled out in full. That's a Canadian thing. My American friends, I can't remember what I can't remember what you guys call yourselves, but in our rules, that has to be spelled out in full. So you'd want to do that and look at all your bios, right? So I don't know about this one. Yeah, so you want to do that on all the different spots, if that makes sense. Okay, and the bios should have, like if I want to, I look at this and I'm on your, what is this, Twitter, and I want to go call you, don't make it hard, right? What's your, you've got YouTube, but it should maybe go to your website. Well, let's click on the link. I don't know what, maybe this is cool, maybe not. We'll have to see in a second. There's the beautiful Cheryl. Okay, so let's just say, I want to show you because this is a great one. Okay, look at that. You got some comments, which is awesome. But what you don't have here, Cheryl, is don't make it hard for me to call, email, private message, whatever I want to use. So in all the text, in any video you do, you should have your stats, your info, right? Your name, your brokerage, your email, your phone number, okay? Links to your website so that I can easily find you. Oh, I meant to turn my video on so you could see my passion for this. Does that make sense? So you want to just kind of go through each of the different platforms that you have and fix all the bios. And of course, if you just moved, obviously you're in the midst of doing this, Cheryl, but you want to make sure everything is correct. The other thing that I don't see on here, well, let's see what happens here. Okay, I don't know what that is. So that would confuse me a little bit about, I don't know what Luxmore is. Maybe it's an old one. I don't know, maybe it is yours. Oh, I don't know. So maybe that just needs to be removed. But you want to make sure it's consistent everywhere, right? So you got to look at everything. This is probably an old thing, so you want to change that everywhere. So on LinkedIn, you guys, one of the things that I do see that a lot of times people don't do on LinkedIn, okay, so that's your slide share, which is cool, on LinkedIn, is that LinkedIn by default, because most people that like work at Royal Bank or wherever, they're not going to put their phone number and their email visible, right? Because it's not relevant. But for agents, it's different. So in LinkedIn, by default, the email and the phone is not public. But I think with agents, you want to make it public because it should be everywhere, right? You want people to call you when they see your post about a house or in LinkedIn or wherever, right? That makes sense? So Gary, we don't have time to do yours, but do the same thing. Just Google yourself. And what you should do, here's a tip, you guys, if you're Googling yourself, always do it in an incognito or private browsing window because it's you, it knows it's you. So you always want, this is Chrome. I'm not going to go through every browser, but in Chrome, if I was going to Google myself, it sounds so weird. You go over to the top right and you say incognito window. Internet Explorer calls it private browsing, but I would just then go Darci LaRocque and I would see what comes up because now it doesn't keep any cookies or cached information when you do it private browsing. Okay. All right, you guys, that is it. Hopefully that helps. Cheryl, you have just a few things to fix and congrats on your move over to Coldwell. That's awesome. Any other questions? I don't think I saw any questions. Let me just whip up here and make sure. We will post this in all our different platforms, but once Ray edits it, easy for me to say, he's going to post it on our Facebook pages and groups and on YouTube. So you can always watch a replay of this to kind of review what I said. I don't see any other questions, so I guess I'm out of here. All right. So thank you guys very much for showing up. It was awesome. And we'll see you. Oh, hold on. Next week. What I forgot next week. Just a sec. Not next week. What's next month? I forgot. Oh, you know what we're going to try and do next month? So April 30th, not try and do. We're actually going to do a Q&A. I want you to just bring your questions. And you know, about anything that I'm really good at is, you know, anything around technology and systems and bring your questions about just stuff. I've done this with my private, I have a private group of agents I work with, and we do this monthly with them, and it's been really, really awesome. So I wanted to do it more publicly. So next month, you just fill out the form and just put your questions. It might be about CRMs. It might be about anything, signatures. We might talk about signatures or text messaging or how things work. Happy to help out. So it's the first time I've done it kind of publicly. So hopefully you'll register for that webinar. Ray can put the link in. Oh, actually, is Ray gonna? No, actually, we'll notify you when that happens. All right, awesome. Okay, you guys, then I'm out of here. We will talk to you later, and have a fantastic day. Bye.